Catholic, and they are saying that's Reformed Church. No, you don't have to ask. You hearken to the call. Whether in India, whether in China, whether in Turkey, whether in Nigeria, wherever you hear the call, you can hearken to the call without questioning who is ringing the bell. So as soon as I found it was over, I said, look, sir, if you like, we can go down and we can see how a Muslim pray. He said, Deedat, will be allowed? I said, of course, sir. We are very tolerant. The Arab is not that tolerant, you know. He doesn't want these people, non-Muslims, to come near the masjid. Our Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam opened the Masjid al-Nabawi for this Christian deputation for 3 days and 3 nights. They slept in the mosque, they discussed in the mosque, they ate in the mosque. 3 days and 3 nights. And when Sunday came, our Nabi Kareem sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he offered the masjid, he said, you can offer your prayers here. He was that tolerant, but we have become intolerant. The best place where you can invite people is to visit your masjid. Because what impact the salat has upon the unbeliever, the non-Muslim, you don't know. You know, when we go into the sujood, what happens to him? You don't know. There's nothing there, and you go down to the ground, down to the dust. He just can't understand, what is this? So I said, no, you're welcome, sir. So I took the half a dozen. Mr. and Mrs. Beer, Mr. and Mrs. Daniels, and the Argentinian couple. When we reach the masjid, I says, please take off your shoes. I know it's an inconvenience we are causing the people, but it has to be done. So I said, do you know why you're taking off your shoes, sir? He says, no. I said, do you remember when Moses was on Mount Sinai, God spoke to him and he said, do not now hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Of course, if they were Afrikaners, I would have said, and he said, Muni nader komni, take your schoener from your voeten af, want de plek waar je opstaan is heilige grond. And if they were Zulus, I would have told them, so why didn't you go to Lapa? Come on, the Catholic Zako, the young Zako, Waguba in Tahawa, Omiguyo, Sabadi, Umwele. I tell you, there is no better way of explaining than from his own book of authority. You see, instead of telling the old-fashioned way, my father used to do, he says, you know, you people, you go to the toilet, lavatory with your shoes, same shoes you go to the church, you got no respect for the house of God, but we are a nice, clean people. It's true. But if you can kill the snake without breaking the stick, why not do that? Show him, this is from your book, sir, and we are honoring those commandments. I said, before we go into play, we make ablution. Wudu, you say abdas. I said, you know, sir, there are 3 good reasons why we do that. Number 1, purely from the hygienic point of view, I says, no one is going to find fault with a person who washes himself 5 times a day. It's a good hygienic practice. And they all nod their heads. Whether Jews or Christians, they all nod their heads. It's a good hygienic practice. Number 2, I say it serves certain psychological purpose, meaning it prepares the hand mentally for prayer. Not washing because you're dirty, but you're going to present yourself before the Lord. And number 3, I said this is also another commandment given by God Almighty to the Holy Prophet Moses. In the book of Exodus, that is the 2nd book of the Bible, it is written, and Moses and Aaron and their sons washed their hands and their feet thereat when they went into the tent of the congregation. They washed as the Lord commanded Moses. He said, we Muslims are still fulfilling another biblical commandment, though we haven't got the label of a Jew, nor yet that of a Christian. Yet in all humility we claim that we are more Jewish than the Jews and more Christians than the Christians. In this, that we are trying to follow in the footsteps of the prophets. It went down so beautifully, so beautifully. Went inside the masjid, time for salat, so sit down at the back, made them to sit against the wall, and they watched the Muslim at prayer. And I came and referred to them that everything that we did, including the sujood, was in your book, sir. It is in his book. I says, you remember, you read there, it says, and Abraham fell on his face and prayed to God. I'm quoting from the Old Testament of the Christians. And Abraham fell on his face and prayed to God. And I quote again, and Moses and Aaron fell on their faces and prayed to God. And again, and Joshua fell on his face and prayed to God. When we come to the New Testament, we read that was his last days on earth, Jesus Christ. He went to the Garden of Gethsemane and he said to his disciples, wait and watch, pass up. And he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed to God. Ask them, how does a man fall on his face and pray? Except the way we Muslims do. But they are ashamed to humble themselves like their God did. It's an amazing thing. Everything the Muslim does is in his book. It is there. But he, poor man, he doesn't know. He's reading, but he doesn't understand. We understand, but we don't explain. So, after the salat was over, we go back. to the house, have some tea and samosas. And while we're having tea and samosas, I had an idea. I said, Mr. Dear, it's in the Quran. He says, no. So would you like to have a look at it? So, Dear, have you got an English translation? I said, yes, sir. So I said, no. I said, I don't mind. So I had this same translation by Yusuf Ali, but it was in 3 volumes. You know, the paper was a bit rougher than this. So, you know, it was very bulky, so they divided into 3 parts, 10 siparas each. So I had it in 3 parts. Same Quran, page for page same, but very much bigger and bulkier. So it was in 3 parts. So between one couple I gave one part, between the second couple I gave another part, and the last volume I gave to my boss. I said, have a look, sir. So they opened the book. It's natural, inquisitive. So he just opened the book and started looking. So I suggested to my boss what I'm suggesting to you, my brothers and sisters, every night. Open the index. I said, open the index. Look up the subject Moses. If it was a Christian, I said, open the subject Jesus. Look, he's the Jews. I said, open the subject Moses. So he opened Moses. Beautiful references. Then I said, look, sir, why don't you look up exactly what it has to say? You know, these are only references. So he opened somewhere, he had a look. He opened somewhere else, I'm watching them. Then he looks up to me, he says, Deedat, this book is very funny. I said, what is funny about it, sir? He said, look, Deedat, this book is speaking in our favor. See, but you people are all against us. So I said, it is true, sir. I said, you see, sir, the Egyptians, you know, set hard tasks for your people. They killed your sons and kept your daughters alive. In that was also a bitter sting. Why were they keeping your daughters alive? You knew why they were keeping them alive. And they said, hard task for you. Making bricks without straw and what not. They enslaved you. They're free people that went there, they enslaved you. So, and you people were the people of God, believed in God. Those were all idol worshippers, the Egyptians. So God Almighty is telling us that the Egyptians have been unjust to your people. But today, sir, I said, you see, you have usurped our land. So Deedat, how can you say that? Palestine belongs to us. So I said, how, sir? How, sir? How does Palestine belong to you? And he knew his Bible better than many of us know our Quran. So he started quoting from the book of Genesis, chapter 17, verse 8. He quoted. He said, and I will give unto thee, Allah Ta'ala speaking to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. Say, I will give unto thee and to thy seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, that's Palestine, for an everlasting possession. And I will be the God. Means I will see to it that you are protected. God Almighty promised it to us. And this is how they have programmed the Christian world. This is the promise of God to the Jews. If they go against the Jew, they are going against God. Can't you see? Like zombies. Everybody is being led like zombies into this. So my boss, in good faith, he's telling me, look, Palestine belongs to us. God promised it to us. So I said, excuse me, sir. You see, the Bible gives us a test. In the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, verses 21 and 22, we are told that, and if thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord has not spoken? Suppose this was not given by God. Suppose God didn't utter those words about giving Palestine to Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam. How are we to know whether it was such a promise was made or it wasn't made? That the word Lord had not spoken. When a prophet speaketh, says the book of Deuteronomy, in the name of the Lord, in the name of God, if the thing follow not, if that thing doesn't happen, nor come to pass, that is the thing the Lord had not spoken. Because wa'adallahu haqq. If Allah makes a promise, his promise is true, must come to pass. If the thing didn't happen, then that is the promise that was not made by Allah. But the Prophet had spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. Now they believe that a Prophet can speak presumptuously on his own. We believe that a Prophet can't do that. He is only a mouthpiece of God. Whatever Allah Ta'ala puts into his heart and mind, only that he can utter, not what he feels like. But according to the Christian Bible and the Jewish Bible, the prophets can speak, shoot it off, off the cuff, anything that they like. So I said, look, this is a test. Is it a valid test? He said, of course it's a valid test. I said, let's apply it. Let us apply to this prophecy. It's a prophecy that Ibrahim alayhi salam was going to get the whole of Palestine, Canaan, for an everlasting possession, him and his children. So I said, you see, sir, the day when Abraham died, it says in Genesis